All right. All right. Keys for business, entrepreneurs. We have a special guest today as Carolyn Thomson Twaddle, and she's going to be giving us some really good nuggets today that we can utilize not just in our business, but actually in our lives. And so Carolyn, so tell everybody just a little bit about yourself and what you do and how you got into the business that you're doing right now.
Well, I'm the founder and CEO of Intentional by Design, and I'm also the author of the book called Living in Sync with Your God-Given Design. And what I do is help people find more calm in their life, more calm and more peace, so they can live and die with less regrets. That's kind of the skinny version of what I do. And I provide a service. It's called a Day of Calm, helping people to step away and be able to replenish and then reflect and then start a new path. We're busy people, and it's hard to step away and yet like you said, our lives are important too. It's all interconnected.
So Carolyn, so one of the reasons why I thought the members of this group would benefit from the information that you going to provide us today is you were telling me about this young lady, how you in essence just saved her life. Can you go into what you did for her?
Well, this was a young gal who was young and yet not so young. She'd really experienced many things that people don't experience in their entire life, but she had experienced everything you can imagine, from terminal health conditions and trauma and divorce and everything you can imagine, broken dreams. And she'd been through counseling for many years. And I'm not advocating that people get counseling, but she had been on this journey for a long time. And she reached out to me, and we worked together. And in fact, it was in a Day of Calm. And we just were able to be open. A lot of times we're not able to be real and honest and know we're in a safe place. And I bring a different dimension a little bit with my work. I'm a woman of faith, so I bring that component. I feel like we are whole people, and each part isn't separate from another. It all seems to be connected. So we were able to communicate on that level as well. But she realized that there really were some things she could get freedom on, and a sense of hope. And she walked away inspired, having made some small but very powerful changes. Sometimes we overcomplicate our lives, I found. We tend to let some of those very fundamental, basic things go in our life, and then we're basically drained, depleted, and running on empty. We're trying to give from an empty cup, and it's really hard to do that. And then to have some time to just reflect honestly and thoughtfully on one's life. She was able to do that and realized she had left a lot of her dreams, the things that she really enjoyed. She hadn't done them for a long time. And all of a sudden she started getting creative and remembering she really did like art, and she was actually pretty good at it. A lot of the things that brought life back into her, she had let slip. She was kind of in survival mode for many years. So we tend to do the same. It's important to go and realize, okay, what are those things that breathe life into me? They may be as mundane as, this is going to sound silly, but for me, it's gardening, but it's also something like ironing. I actually forget all my business stuff when I'm ironing. I don't know. It seems to be, maybe it's just so, I don't know. There's something therapeutic about it. But just to say, it doesn't have to be something glamorous, or it doesn't need to cost any money. It could actually be lightening your load in some way, something you enjoy doing. And so she began to kind of rediscover those things of herself that have been left behind. And she began to realize there really was a path forward. And it wasn't my anticipation that she would let go of some of the support she'd had all those years. But that's what ended up happening, because she just found she didn't need them anymore. So each person's different, but it can be life changing. And in fact, that's where I have gone with this day of calm. I believe it should be one day that's significant, important, life changing, and that you look back on and you realize that really was a pivotal moment in my life. And it happened to be in her case, for example.
So one of the things that we want the listeners to get is, some valuable nuggets so that they can implement and put in their lives right now. But let before we kind of dig into that as well, can you talk about, so some of the things that she did was she was able to be rejuvenated to take advantage of some of her creative juices. I know most of the listeners here are entrepreneurs, and a lot of times stress can impede their ability to think and because for a lot of times as entrepreneurs, what we're trying to do is provide some kind of result for someone, and sometimes whatever your creative way of doing that thing is what they're trying to figure out, that new way that they're doing, a valuable way that they're doing. So can you so this day of calm, can you kind of talk a little bit about how you came up with this, how and what that looks like?
Well, I came up with it. Do you mind if I give a little backstory just real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
That's what.
So my, I guess you could call it my sweet spot, my gifting, my the area that I naturally excel in is helping people feel more calm. And so for many years, I thought, I don't know what to do with that, but it seems to be my lane. And then that became more and more clear that people live and die with regrets. They hardly ever step away and just consider their lives. It's become kind of a passion, I guess you could say, to help people both live and die with less regrets. And so I realize we're busy. We don't really have a lot of time. We don't want to sign up for this lengthy coaching program. Some of these things very honestly, just need to be kind of paradigm shifts. We need to look at things through a different lens, and and that helps. It's huge. And so a lot of that can happen in a single day. And in fact, I would say it's even more effective that way. And so I realized we both need, as entrepreneurs, like a retreat, but we also need like a workshop. And we don't have a lot of time. And so I came up with this blend. It's a beautiful blend of a retreat and a workshop. And so the retreat part is helping live refreshed, not just that day getting some refreshment, some life breathed back into you, but to go away with some real tools, and it's all very customized. So it's not like these are generic ideas, but they're really the way you're made and what helps you to be replenished. So the retreat part.
What if somebody, so if they come, so do they come to you for the retreat, or is it kind of like on Zoom? Is it
Yeah.
remote?
Oh,
How does it work?
some people really appreciate the one-on-one exclusive time together. So that is a virtual, one-on-one exclusive virtual full day, or I do have it available as groups. Some people really enjoy the dynamic of having a small group and also in a safe environment, and they can be inspired by each other as well. And so the virtual, I'm sorry, the group is available both in virtual and live. The one-on-one is just virtual.
Okay. So, all right, awesome. So, one of the things a lot of times people appreciate kind of this from here's here's where I am right now to
Mhm.
kind of see where, where I can get to with someone else. So like for example, like for me, I run this finance business. I think I told you the story before that I was 20 years, 25 years ago, I was looking for finance for my business, had a hard time. Then initially figured it out and started helping people. And then here I am, now doing that for other people. Can you kind of lean into, just a little bit of about your story and how you know, this decided to put this together, for other people to kind of see?
So my really, it kind of has to do with what I just shared, where we're just so busy, and um, I I don't know, it just all kind of came together, that blend of the two. I have lived in a place of fight or flight myself for many years, and I I found a lot of other people do as well, especially entrepreneurs. We have a hard time shutting our mind off at night, and if we're creatives or innovators or we're problem solvers, and so I've lived a lot of these things myself, and so I realized the importance of being able to get some practical help. And one of the things that I've done is become an integrative adult sleep coach, because I realize the importance of sleep. And so some real practical help in terms of their own sleep, and a lot of times it's a lifestyle thing, and there can be some small subtle adjustments and they can make a huge difference. And then also just the opportunity to step away and not make stepping away and considering your life threatening. Usually it's people don't look at their life because they might be afraid what they're going to find. They don't want to confront it. That's why they keep kind of ignoring it until they can't ignore it anymore. It's right in front of them. But the sad thing is, when we get to that place, sometimes and often, really, it's oftentimes too late to do anything about it. And that's when, like, you think of Ariana Huffington. She survived her major fall, but it turned her life around. And that happens more often than not. If someone has that life changing event, they do make changes. But I think, well, why do we have to wait till we're forced to make changes, and then we have regrets and we wished we'd done some of those things earlier? So I'm very much a thinker, but I'm also very practical. And so I just kept thinking, if people could just have the opportunity to step away and in a safe place where they don't have to even have to pretend that they're okay. I bring a lot of grace. I've experienced a lot of grace in my own life, and um, a lot of times we just want to be real, and we don't know where we can be real, and we don't want band-aid approach answers. We want real life-changing answers, and so it's interesting. A real quick story. I was at a retreat with a woman led it who I admired greatly. She was really actually brilliant. And she also noted my calming effect on people. And she said to me, and I never forgot her words, she said, how powerful it would be and how helpful if I could help people to just step away for a moment to get some quiet, to get the answers that they need to figure out why they're always filling their life with noise and busy. And her words just kind of haunted me for years, and I never forgot them. And then I found out not long ago that she died. Actually, she was struggling with stage 4 cancer and lost her battle. And I had no idea, but her words, I could tell she was saying them from a very deep place within her. And I never forgot that either. And I thought, I can't not help people do that, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, there's things that if you're not able to address, it's going to eat at you, just not just spiritually, is physically, all around, and it's really hard to be at your best. I,
Right.
I, I, one of the challenges just in business, your business goes as far as you will go, I will go, right? As
Mm-hmm.
far as if I'm not at my best, my business is not going to be at its best. The people that work for me is not going to be as, ideally you want the people that work for you to be better than you so that they can perform better, they can provide
Yeah,
more than you can. But
right,
but if you're not at your best, you could potentially hold them back, or any people that you serve, right?
right. Yeah, in order to really be at our best and not let a lot of these things kind of fall through the cracks, we need to be fully engaged, fully present, showing up fully. And the way we can do that is if we go ahead and we are replenished um, daily. We're not showing up just because, as I said, it's hard to give out of that empty cup. And then to be able to be authentic and real and not holding anything back in our own lives. And it kind of starts from top down a lot of times. Since we are the leaders in our business, we are the models, examples for our clients and our customers. And I often wondered, I don't know why I have such a heart for entrepreneurs, except that I've been in the trenches myself, kind of like you were in that place and you realized the need. But I realized we all have tremendous impact. And that's the most important thing to me is impacting many lives. And as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we have families, we have employees, we have customers, we may be active in the community, we may have nonprofit or areas of concern that we want to help and impact, water projects or things like that. And so it behooves us, that's kind of a funny word, but it behooves us to take our lives seriously and just for that day. And it doesn't mean that you have to do that with me, but if you can step away and figure out some of those ways to replenish yourself, keeping it very simple. And then considering your life. One thing you could do is read the top 5 regrets of the dying and ask yourself, okay, I need to think about that. Are those going to be regrets I'm going to carry with me? And also I have my book. I don't know. This is my book. If you can see it.
Living in sync. I can see it.
Yeah. And so I answer a lot of those bigger questions about life that kind of keep coming back and keep stuffing them. Also, I talk about how we've moved away from art design and how to get back in sync with it. Another book that I really recommend is Greg McEwen. He has the book called Essentialism, and he helps to be able to really think about, well, what's really essential, what's most important. And he helps kind of process through those trade-off questions and get you to work through some things. And my business, I've taken, he's inspired me to simplify even more some of his work. And it was life-changing for me as well. So figuring out what's most important. One thing I really like is to get a blank calendar. Don't start with your messy calendar and your life all filled up with what you already have and try to sort through it, but figure out what's most important and then start fresh and make sure those big rocks is, if you're familiar with that illustration, are in place first. And then using McEwen, you can kind of help negotiate some of those things you maybe already committed yourself in, and you realize, oh, these aren't where I should be investing my time and energy.
So I would equate it to like money or wealth building, or like if you're not paying yourself first, there's nothing, if you wait to pay yourself last, you're left with the crumbs. But so that's almost like putting a deposit in for yourself in the beginning. So, like you mentioned, hey, take some time out, for yourself, think through what's really important for you, and then simplify that. I mean, these are 3 good nuggets I think people can take away from this talk, that can really change your lives. And then, of course, if they want more assistance and more help, how would they contact you? How would they find out? And we'll put some links and stuff underneath the video and stuff. But yeah, how would they find you?
Well, my website is intentionalbydesign.com. They can go there and send me a message, or I'm happy to include my calendar link if someone would like to schedule a follow-up call and just continue the conversation that we started, and maybe a little closer to home for them if they'd like to go ahead and chat a little bit. So, yeah.
Well, great. So, Carolyn, I appreciate you taking the time to, give some golden nuggets. I feel that there'll be individuals that will resonate with your message, and look for your assistance. And I think just listening to this, a lot of times if you take the time when you're listening to someone to actually take some notes, and since this is something you can watch back, there's a lot of nuggets that Carolyn provided, and definitely put that information, the things that you've learned in the chat, and tag Carolyn and myself so we can see that, and so so not only you benefit, but others could benefit in the group. Is there any last parting words that you want to give everyone?
Well, I was just thinking, one of the last things you mentioned about taking care of ourselves first. Another thing that's really important is we all have gifts and talents. And if we can step away and just have some quiet and calm and figure out what it is we're here to do and find our lane, then we'll be able to serve those that are waiting for our gifts and talents, and who we can serve the highest. Otherwise, we're not helping all those for whom we were here to serve, if that makes sense.
So hopefully for those entrepreneurs that are successful and they're doing what they're doing, and maybe they hit a bump in the road, we're stuck at the moment, you know, what Carolyn shared is some great advice. Or if you're an entrepreneur and trying to figure out what to do, or aspiring entrepreneur what to do, this is obviously would be a great place to start, you know, your journey. And well, thanks, Carolyn. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and provide so much valuable nuggets for everyone.
You're most welcome. It was my honor.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dominick.